I began my new year, January of 2023, in an entirely different country. I was visiting El Salvador, my mom's home country, for the first time. You would think that I would have felt blessed to be enriched in a new experience, yet it was quite the opposite. At the beginning of 2022, my girlfriend discovered a bikini picture on my phone of another woman. This incident then began the long and grueling process of disclosing to her the full extent of my compulsive sexual habits and how it had been interwoven with my childhood trauma, accompanied with my lack of self-esteem, self-worth, and self-confidence in being able to handle the challenges of life. When I began 2023, to make a long story short, we had not reached a point of healing and full disclosure within our relationship. Going to El Salvador and traveling for several weeks caused me to feel burdened by the complexity of my thoughts because of all the extended time away from my girlfriend and being all alone. During this time, I felt like a weak man, a boy deep inside that had not been able to embrace the consequences of his own actions and accept the fact that healing would require an immense amount of discomfort. I felt ambivalence towards my relationship and the direction I was headed in life. I could not discern whether or not my relationship was worth saving because I just wanted to be comfortable. I carried on with this ambivalence for several months while being plagued by the thoughts and feelings that consumed me. I knew I had demons to face, yet I chose to stray away from them. In May of 2023, my girlfriend and I took a trip to Yosemite. Our time in nature while sharing these experiences led us to find a new meaning to our relationship, yet there were still demons I had not yet battled with. When we came back from our trip, I decided to stay with her at her place because I did not want to leave her. The next day, we spent time together unpacking, doing laundry, watching movies, cleaning my car. It was this day when I broke down completely out of guilt and shock for how I had lusted after other women, for how I had taken my girlfriend for granted, for how much I hurt her and took advantage of her. Yet there were still demons I had to face and unresolved issues in our relationship because I had not yet made a full disclosure. In June of 2023, my girlfriend found a text message on my phone that I sent to my friend a while back about my sexual urges and desire for other women. This incident forced me to answer the question for myself of what I really wanted and why I had made all the decisions that I have made that have affected my relationship. My girlfriend did not speak to me for several days. It was at this point I did not know whether or not she would want to continue with our relationship. With my back against the wall, I was forced to face my demons. I decided that I would write her a letter of full disclosure. Although I had already started my journey with sexual discipline and semen retention in May of 2023, this letter of full disclosure set the stage for healing that I did not think was possible. I never thought it was possible because I never had the courage. June and July of 2023 were the most difficult months emotionally that I have ever experienced. Yet it was necessary for me to find healing as an individual and within my relationship. I did what I did not think I was capable of doing, the ultimate hero story. In the month of August, I partook in a psilocybin mushroom journey with my friends and my brother. During this journey, I cried for a very long time because all I could feel was love for my girlfriend and a heavy weight of guilt and shame that I had not fully released. This experience helped me embrace forgiveness and adulthood. The mushroom which strangely felt personified, was a teacher of tough love. I felt a paternal feeling of love, with the overarching message of the following: I am my own man, and I hold the power to create my own reality. I'm responsible for the direction in which I take my life. The week after this experience, I went camping with my girlfriend in Oregon. All these feelings and emotions experienced during my mushroom journey were communicated with her, and this camping trip gave me the time to integrate what I learned as an outward expression of love towards her. Our camping trip together felt like the completion of an incredibly transformative journey. We connected deeply, and we even had some uncomfortable conversations with tears involved, but it was all a necessary part of the process. The rest of 2023 has encompassed its fair share of ups and downs, and within these ups and downs, I have found solace in the strength granted to me. With every depression in life, there is a lesson to be learned. Lesson 1: The importance of discipline. Discipline. The reason why I went out of my way to share my story of the intensity of the emotions and feelings I felt throughout the year of 2023 was because I felt like there were very large lessons to learn from that experience. I think 2023 was essentially the final chapter of childhood, and although I'm 23 years old now, and I was 22 years old throughout most of that year, I should have been old enough to take responsibility for myself and my own actions, yet I avoided the discomfort and the pain of discipline and what that brings on for my life. Although I knew deep down discipline was a thing that I was lacking, and that was a reason why I was suffering more than I felt like I needed to. I think I took after bad habits, like I discussed in my story, with a lack of sexual discipline, just pursuing lust in ways that I'm not proud of, and hurting my girlfriend as a consequence, and having to work through that emotional process of why I took those actions in the first place and how that is interconnected with my childhood. And then also includes smoking weed, and how smoking weed was an escape for me. And I still smoke weed occasionally, but it definitely was something that I use as a means of escaping the responsibilities of life. The little things like washing the dishes, I would avoid. Cleaning my car, I would avoid. Just thinking about myself and just general personal development, I would avoid. Now at the beginning of 2023, I did make it a goal to increase my fitness level, and I did do that, but it took me some time. And I think when I started practicing sexual discipline, I believe my relationship came to a point where the only way we would heal together is if I personally took my own healing journey seriously. And I knew deep down that I would not heal sexually until I decided to take care of my bad sexual habits. And one of those bad sexual habits was masturbating too frequently. And I feel like that habit would lead me to questioning whether or not I had urges for other women. And once I decided that it was time to stop doing that altogether, I went about 2 months without masturbating. And then I started going even longer after that. So I would try to share what I did within that process, but I think that would be more appropriate for another video. But in terms of discipline, that is one of the biggest lessons that I learned from this year and my experiences. And I know that fitness has been something that I started really building as time went on throughout the year, and everything that I went through with my girlfriend. I would say around the summertime, fitness was something that I attached myself to heavily, because I felt like that was what got me through that intensity of all those emotions and feelings of having to work through everything that I had to work through with my girlfriend, and all the emotions and all the childhood trauma and that I had to face, and just questioning why did I take these actions, and really trying to understand myself better. It takes a lot of time, for sure, and it is anything but easy. Lesson 2. Recognize unhealthy attachments and unresolved childhood wounds. So that leads me to lesson 2. Now, with lesson 2, it's really recognizing those unhealthy attachments, what no longer serves me, and also recognizing those unresolved layers of childhood trauma. Now, for some context, my dad raised me, and he raised me with my mom, but I was essentially raised by a narcissist. And that's who my dad is he's a narcissist. So when you think of a narcissist, yes, I think that term may be overused, but my dad specifically is definitely a narcissist. And when you think of a narcissist, you should think shaming, blaming, criticizing, ridiculing, name calling, whatever. All of the above. He was every type of narcissist, essentially. And as you can imagine, being a child and having to be raised by a narcissist and being intimidated by him, because he was definitely intimidating. He projected his voice in a way that made us feel intimidated. He would stand up tall and chest out to us, and almost as if he would hit us, because he would throw his rage fits. He never hit us, my brother and I, but he definitely intimidated us, and I took on a freeze response. So with that childhood trauma, you have that fight or flight. I wouldn't fly away, but I would freeze, shut down completely. And that's something that I've carried on to any sense of discomfort or conflict. And that is something that has been seriously difficult for me to work through. And with these unhealthy attachments, to build on what I was previously discussing in lesson 1, is I needed to release the attachment to masturbating or any attachment to sex, in addition to that attachment to weed. I think I knew for a long time that I have needed to release those attachments, which is why it was really important to me to focus on releasing those. And it took me several years, but within the scope of 2023 and everything that I had to work through personally on an individual level, but also through my relationship as well, that's when I took everything more seriously. And I realized that I was really at a time in my life where, hey, like, I'm turning 23, I'm a young adult now, and I need to take more responsibility in my life. And if I ever want to get to the point that I want to be at, which I'm not 100% sure where I want to be at, but everyone wants a life to where they're relatively comfortable or stable, and I would just evade any responsibility that required me to put in hard work. And to build on that fitness story that I was previously discussing in lesson 1, I used fitness, and I have been using fitness still as a means of mental toughness, building mental toughness and character development. Now, I haven't been perfect, obviously. It hasn't translated to every single thing that I do in my life. I think it takes a long time to really unlearn every habit that you have created for yourself, especially these unhealthy habits of avoidance. Maybe, that doesn't apply to you, but I know people like being comfortable, okay? Like, most of us like being comfortable to a certain extent. And I have lived a chronic state of avoidance ever since I was a child, it seems like. And recognizing those attachments that I've had to essentially keep me in that state of avoidance helped me to keep going in a different direction, and more so the direction that I want to be going, building that momentum. And fitness has helped me build that momentum, because it's not easy, okay? Like, if you're working out, and this can apply to anything else, if you're pushing yourself academically, spiritually, anything else, it is not easy. You have to really embrace that discomfort, and there's going to obviously be days where you don't want to go, but you have to mentally will yourself to just physically bring yourself to a point where, okay, I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna complete this intense workout or this intense essay that I have to write for my English class. Just a basic example. I also started getting into taking cold showers, and taking cold showers has helped me build a little bit more mental toughness. And these two together, pushing myself physically through fitness and cold showers, etc., it has helped me build a tolerance to a certain degree of discomfort. And that is the goal of mine, to build that discomfort, and recognizing those childhood wounds, recognizing the unhealthy attachments I've had for a long time that I still have somewhat to just the general state of avoidance, has helped me at least see the direction that I don't want to go down. And that direction is staying in a state of avoidance and complacency. Complacency is what I feel like fuels depression. It just adds gasoline onto a fire, and boom, all of a sudden you're depressed. But a lot of times when I feel depressed, I know what I need to do, but it's hard for me to get out of bed and do it. And it's normal. I think we all have our ups and downs where we stay in bed maybe too long for consecutive days. Definitely normal. Don't beat yourself up about something like that. But a lot of times you gotta recognize, like, why am I feeling the way I am? And is there something that I could do to help myself feel better? Lesson 3. Expression of love and gratitude takes consistent practice. With lesson 3, this is something that I have had probably the most difficulty with in terms of changing this behavior and my perspective on it. Now, for context, when I was growing up, like I was saying previously, I was raised by a narcissist, and he did not express love in the way that you would expect a loving parent to express love. And his behavior was something that was modeled for me as a child, and I thought it was normal. And I feel like I have a hard time expressing love and gratitude. And that's part of what mentally has been hard for me to get past. I feel like I genuinely am a resentful person, and I genuinely am not very empathetic. And I think empathy is something that for some people is a behavior that you have to consistently practice, and loving people and being affectionate is something you have to consistently practice, whether that's through touch or verbally. And for me, I've felt discomfort, like a feeling of cringe within of complimenting people and interacting in a loving manner. And I think to myself and how I really haven't had too much interaction with people on a human-to-human basis in person, and I haven't had that practice really because I never went to college in person, and I've always done online school. But even before then, I don't think I was necessarily a physically or verbally affectionate person, a empathetic person, and that's something that I've been trying to learn to overcome. And I think it takes consistent practice and dedication, and there's goals that you have to set. And for me, I know a personal goal that I've been working on for a while is just trying to compliment at least 2 people a week, whether that's a stranger or a friend or a family member. My girlfriend doesn't count because I've learned how to express love to her fully. I feel like I am able to express my love for her fully. But with other people in my life, for some reason I find it cringy. And I think it's because I've never been comfortable with being vulnerable, because that's something that my father never expressed outwardly. He was never vulnerable. I mean, he was a narcissist, come on now. And I've never felt comfortable with my emotions. My girlfriend is the only person that I felt safe enough with to cry. Now, I've cried with my brother, but only when I'm really, really emotional about something. I just have to talk to him about something that I feel like is just really upsetting, and that is very rarely. And it took a lot out of me to cry when I tripped on mushrooms, as I described in the story earlier in this video. But that was easier for me because I felt like I had to let it pass through me. Otherwise, I would have been fighting this energy. I knew I was going to cry. I just had to let it happen. And I wasn't judged for it. But yet, it's still difficult for me to express any type of emotion with people, and specifically around men in my life. And I think that is something that I have to work on more, expressing love and gratitude, but also embracing my own emotions and others' emotions and really trying to put myself in their shoes. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for making it to the end and tuning in today. I know that I can approach my videos slowly, and it's my personal style to take my time to find the right words that I feel like are important to express what I need to say and communicate. So thank you so much for tuning in again, and Happy New Year. And if there's anything that you want to share in the comment section, please. And if there's anything that you would like me to talk about or for Will to talk about, please leave a comment and subscribe. Thank you, and Happy New Year.